Hello, good morning. Welcome to Good Morning Africa live on Pan-African Television. My name is Kwame Owusu Danso. This is the Newspaper Review segment where we delve deeper and deeper into all the issues that we've tabled for our conversation. I'd like to say a big thank you to the news team for bringing us the 6 a.m. news, as well as the sports team for bringing us the Go segment on the morning show, Brazil de facto, People's Dispatch for bringing us what is happening across the globe. This morning, we're going to be touching on a number of issues. First, an African story, and then some domestic stories here. Let me quickly take you through the topics. Ivorian President Paradox of Africa's Term Limit. That story was captured by the Daily Graphic newspaper. Deputy Chief Imam endorses Mohammed's mosque for Muslims. Daily Post, that story is on the front page of that particular newspaper. EC exposes NDC, says allegations regarding removal of NDC supporters from voters register unfounded. The new crusading guide. Nurses and midwives suspend strike, resume work today. The Daily Dispatch newspaper. So these are the topics that we've chosen to deal with this morning. I have been joined in the studios by Mr. Kwesi Pratt Jr. as well as Honorable Inusa Fusen. We are expecting Kamal Dean from the MPP to also join us for today's conversation. Let me remind you that the WhatsApp number is active. It's 0260846539, and we are also streaming live on all our social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, what have you. So you can leave your comments there, and I'll be more than willing to read them out to you. Honorable, let me start the conversation with you. Ivorian President, the paradox of Africa's term limit. Sir.
Well, thank you so very much, and consistent with what I have been doing over the past few weeks, extending my sincere regards to you, my brother Kwesi Pratt, and your numerous viewers, and especially the people of Tamale Central constituency. It's really a good day, and today we are meeting once again to consider issues that are trending in Ghana and Africa. Now, the topic you have chosen today from the graphic at page 10 is a story written by the security analyst Ibrahim. Or what's his name?
Ibad.
Yes. I must say that reading it, I felt and must congratulate Ibad. It has been well written. It has been very well written. He's chosen his words and his diction carefully. He's also tried to, if you want, cross-reference other countries as regards Ivory Coast, and painted a general picture of what many African countries are doing. I mean, it's a read that most political science students can look at. Ivory Coast really is a paradox. It's a paradox because Alassane Ouattara came to power precisely because the elections conducted by in 2010 or so in Ivory Coast was disputed. Many people had said that Alassane Ouattara had won the elections. I mean, and Laurent Gbagbo also claimed to have won the elections. Now, because of the pedigree of Alassane Ouattara and the fact that his profile, it was Western conspiracies suggested that a change of government in Côte d'Ivoire would inure to the benefit of the people of Ivory Coast democratically. I mean, it will establish a routine where people can only occupy office by reason of elections. Then it will also have a cascading effect by influencing other countries in Africa to imbibe the term limits in constitutional democracy. And so that was one reason largely why the foreign countries supported Alassane Ouattara in assuming the throne. Alassane Ouattara in 2016 piloted a constitution in Ivory Coast, and which constitution indicated in one of its provisions that any person who ascended to the presidency in Ivory Coast could only do 2 terms. 2 terms. So Ivory Coast has a constitution that has a 2-term limit. Now, Alassane Ouattara, I think, had intended to respect the constitutional injunct that makes him eligible for contestation for the presidency for only 2 terms. That's why he supported Gon Coulibaly, his prime minister. Unfortunately, he lost his prime minister. and made a U-turn. And that is the bad fate, and that is a disturbing development that is now plaguing Ivory Coast. I mean, one cannot think that in Ivory Coast, apart from Alassane Ouattara and Koulibaly, there are no people within the ruling governing party, the ruling party, I mean, in Ivory Coast, who are otherwise unqualified to be president of Ivory Coast.
Yeah.
I mean, that certainly should be. And to come back or make a U-turn by reason of the fact that the prime minister that you had anointed as your successor is dead, and so there's nobody to succeed you. I mean, it's a slap in the face of leadership of Alassane Ouattara. It is clearly have shown that he's cast in the mold of former presidents of Africa who think that they know all the problems of their countries, and they must be all that their countries need for the purposes of progress. This cannot be allowed, and this should not be allowed. I'm saying so not because I have particular interest in any of the persons who are contesting or who want to put themselves up for contest in the elections. I'm saying so because we have reached a state in our history as Africans that we must begin to respect matters that we ourselves have agreed with our compatriots as part of the establishment, and so that we don't introduce uncertainty and chaos in our various countries. Uncertainty and chaos retard our progress. I mean, you must create a situation where everybody in your country can aspire to reach where you have reached as the president. And when you begin, after ascending the presidency, begin putting in place obstacles and barriers that will prevent people from reaching where you are, then you better reassess yourself. You probably are not the leader that your people want. And that is why I am not in any way comfortable and sympathetic to Alassane Ouattara. I mean, violence is already beginning. Protestations are starting. And there are little pockets of violence in Ivory Coast. Why should that be so? Why will Alassane Ouattara enter the presidency of Ivory Coast with violence and seek to continue his presidency with violence? I mean, it doesn't simply make sense. It doesn't make sense. And let it be known that God, in his infinite wisdom, has given everybody or all persons the power to reason. The power to reason differs from person to person, but each and every one of us has a power to reason. And each and every one has abilities that can inure to the benefit of the development of one's country. And so presidents should not, ought not, and must not stifle, impede, bottleneck democracy in their countries. And Alassane Ouattara should be well advised to stay away from the contestation. I mean, his contestation evokes violence. His contestation evokes violence, and if I were Alassane Ouattara, I would say no. I mean, look at Nelson Mandela. Look at Nelson Mandela. No president in Africa can say he suffered the level of suffering of Nelson Mandela. No president. He was incarcerated because he was fighting for his people for 27 good years. He came out and his people rewarded him with the presidency. African National Congress rewarded him with the presidency. He served only one term. He had the right to serve 2 terms. He said, looking at myself, judging from my health status, I think that I need to pass the mantle to the next generation of leadership. Nelson Mandela today is standing proudly in front of the Parliament House in Pretoria. Proudly. He didn't seek by any means to extend his stay in office beyond the constitutional term limits. In fact, he left the scene when the applause was loudest. If people have said the fact that Nelson Mandela did that is largely responsible for the stability of South Africa. But look at Makasau. Makasau. You were sworn in 2017. You said you were going to do 1 term. 1 term. Nobody forced you to say that. The Constitution has given you 2 terms. Nobody forced you to say that. You said you were going to do 1 term. Then when people started raising up their boots to contest, you said, oh, now I'm going to do 2 terms. I mean, this should be, you see, politics, there should be some integrity. Our leaders must have integrity. And that when they say their word must be their bond. And you cannot play politics with everything. And so I think that today's discussion is Laurent Gbagbo, Alassane Ouattara. Alassane Ouattara, if he's listening to us, if he's watching us, or if somebody's watching us, should advise him. If that fellow has the courage and confidence to advise him, to tell him that he's done his bit. He's done his bit for Ivory Coast. He's done his bit for the whole world because he was an officer of the IMF. He's done his bit. He's contributed to the development of humanity. He's contributed to the development of his country. He's gotten 2 terms in office. He should just walk away quietly, peacefully, and give the mantle back to the next generation. And Ivorians will forever be grateful.
Thank you very, very, very much. Let me say a special good morning to you, Kamaldeen. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
Let's listen to you on the subject matter of Ivory Coast, and then we'll come to Mr. Pratt, please.
Well, very good morning once again. Good morning to the cherished viewers of Pan-African TV, and of course, good morning to Kwesi Pratt and Honorable Inus Afoseni. Kwame.
Yes, sir.
This crave for power, this love for power, you understand, in Africa, for me, to a very large extent, is sickening. Especially when you would have to circumvent laws to achieve what you want. When the very law that you are seeking to circumvent is what saw you to where you were or where you are. The case of Ivory Coast, I remember when he served as a prime minister in the country some time ago, and later when he sought to become the president, the people came out to say he wasn't even an Ivorian. The very laws of Ivory Coast facilitated that for you. You fought it, they refused, you fought it, but because it was destined, you have become president. I would have thought that, clearly, the very laws that got you there, you should be seen to be protecting those laws for some other people to come in. Sometimes I have so much respect for Honorable Fuseni, the likes of Honorable Fuseni, the likes of Nana Komia, who have been in parliament, and the point I'm bowing out. So much respect. I'm telling you. It's not easy to take such decisions, but some do it. Okay? But unfortunately, you go to some other countries, you even come to our own country, Ghana, and when you go to parliament, some people will tell you, to the extent that I want to be Mugabe. I want to be this. You know, people take joy. Even though what they do is not against the law. But see, instinctively, when someone says somewhere and say, are you the only person that God has ordained to always lead us? Those questions are asked. That's the same case in Ivory Coast. It's like when the NDC were going for their primaries. A lot of people came out. My good friend Stephen Atubiga came out and said, "Oh, John Dramani Mahama has done his. He's had everything. He shouldn't come up even at all." Making the moral argument. This was not legal argument. They're making the moral argument. Are you getting my point? So for me, when it transcends or goes beyond the moral argument and comes to legality, and you still want to force it, that's dangerous and that's bad. Okay, with Ivory Coast, I say without any equivocation that anybody seeking to unseat a constitutional rule, because even within constitutionalism there is unconstitutional rule. That's what I see. Even within constitutionalism, your acts and actions or inactions will point to unconstitutional rule. For me, I think it's not a proper term. It's not good. We should not counternounce it, and it's not better for us. Like the example Honorable Fuseni gives in Senegal, Macky Sall. Nobody stopped you. Nobody forced you to say what you wanted to say. Again, people raise the moral argument. Legally, you were there, but you came and told them, "Hold me to my words. I won't do this." The next moment, you are doing it. Are you getting me? And it's everywhere, but we need to watch it in Africa. We need to watch it. Africa is development is retarded because of some of these acts.
Absolutely.
Like Gabon. Omar Bongo was there over 40 years. When he was leaving, his son had to come, Ali Bongo. It becomes a dynasty. Okay? You go to Congo, former Zaire. Kabila after him, his son came. Kabila. It goes on and on like that. Togo. Our own neighbors. Fonya Singbe. The father was there, after that, four had to come in. Let's say the wisdom is in so many heads. Wisdom cannot just be in one person's head. So I think it starts from our moral standing. It starts from the way we think and see power. And I think what forces it more is our belief in Africa that politicians are the most powerful, and without politicians, I can't do anything in this country. So everybody wants to get political power. I pray and hope that, inshallah, our country, Ghana, will never see such a thing. That is why, not too long ago, the president said, even in the midst of COVID, I'll be the last person to say that there shouldn't be election in this country. Even if COVID is last, other countries have had elections. For me, any process that will see us transferring power constitutionally and moving, not to go beyond the December 7th mark, I am not for it. I am for anything that will see us transferring power under constitutional rule. I dove my heart for Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo this morning. When he made that comment, I was so happy. And he's been consistent. I want to see all leaders do that. Not too long ago, when ECOWAS came out to discuss the Mali issue here in Ghana, I saw a piece, someone wrote an article on the internet, I think I've forgotten the name, and I found it very interesting. He asked that what moral right has some leaders got to even attend the Mali, conference? He raised a question and mentioned leaders like Ouattara. Mentioned people and said, you are coming to talk about constitutional rule, returning to constitutional rule, your own backyard, there are accusing fingers pointing at you. So you see, trying to raise the hypocritical stance. And of course, if you look into it, you merit it. You give it credence. Okay? You have come to tell somebody, go to constitutional rule. The same constitution that have given you 2 limits. You are done with your 2 limits. You say, no, let's change the constitution and get 3 limits. So the writer was right. But it is also, again, for the likes of Ango Kusi Pride, the likes of Honorable Fuseni, they've seen it. We are at the beginning, you and I, and those watching, the young ones. We have to learn from this. That lust for power, that so much crave for power, diminish it. Reduce it a bit. When it comes, you have it. Allah has given it to you. Like the Gambian president, ousted president, Jammeh, after election when Adam Barrow won, He himself said and quoted Quranic verses and said Allah is the one who makes kings. The next moment, the following day, he said, no, I don't accept again. It took leaders to go in there. Later on, the people had to come and, hey, we won't agree with it, then you run to Equatorial Guinea. Sadly. I think it's a sad situation. There are a plethora of examples we can give in this regard, and it is not proper. Once again, it is left for us, the young ones, to learn. Politics is good because you need to seek leadership to help your people, to serve your people. But then, when you go into it and your thing is that the last is too much, let me soil my hands, let me do things, let me hang on for life. I think it's a bad situation. And let's all commend the late president of South Africa, like he rightly said. He stands tall still. Okay? He stands tall. 4 years he had opportunity. He said, no, I'm fine. Let me pass on and move. That's a good example he has given us. We should have it everywhere, and I think Africa will actually be a place to be, inshallah.
Thank you very, very, very much, Kamaldeen. Well, if you just joined us, you're watching the News Private segment on Pan-African Television. We're still talking about the situation in Ivory Coast, and we're now going to listen to Mr. Pratt.
Well, frankly, I'm finding it very difficult to start. You know, I'm getting a bit of where to start from. But it is interesting that my brother and friend, Kamaldeen, actually urges us to single out our President, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, for praise, for promising to do, not doing, for promising to do what every Ghanaian leader has done for 28 years. That's very interesting. We've had 7 elections in this country. We have been engaged in this so-called multi-party democracy for 28 years. Not one single Ghanaian leader has exceeded his mandate. How all of a sudden we are supposed to single out His Excellency the current president for praise beats me completely. If you check our history, no Ghanaian president has ever exceeded his mandate. And that's the truth. But let's put that one aside. Those who supported Alassane Ouattara from his first bid for presidency must be bowing their heads in shame. Alassane Ouattara is proving what we said at that time. I remember how I was attacked, I was vilified and so on, for saying that Alassane Ouattara had no locus at all in his dispute with former President Laurent Gbagbo. Listen, Alassane Ouattara was disqualified by age. He was disqualified by nationality because there were documents, authentic documents, which showed that he was Burkinabe. He himself had filled documents indicating that he was Burkinabe. Former President Laurent Gbagbo said, allow him to contest. Nationality or no nationality, allow him to contest. Gbagbo actually sponsored a constitutional review which changed the age qualification to make Alassane Ouattara qualified to contest. Instead of praising Gbagbo, we vilified him to the high heavens. The elections were conducted. The election results, so-called election results, which declared Alassane Ouattara as winner, was not declared by the Electoral Commission of La Côte d'Ivoire. It was declared by a member of the Constitutional Commission, one member of the Constitutional Commission. The other members disputed the declaration. No official body in La Côte d'Ivoire declared Alassane Ouattara as winner in that election. And yet we supported him. Now what is interesting is that Laurent Gbagbo came forward and said, look, the Ivorian constitution allows for a recount of ballots. All I want is a recount of ballots. If we recount the ballots, and it is established that I've lost the elections, I'll walk away. Let's just have a recount. Alassane Ouattara and his supporters, including his supporters now in government in Ghana, said there will be no recount, something which is allowed by the Ivorian constitution. They continued the agitation, they mobilized terrorists and rebels and a ragtag army, remnants from the Liberian Civil War and so on, and they attacked La Côte d'Ivoire. Eventually, the French army broke into the presidential palace in La Côte d'Ivoire, effected the arrest of Laurent Gbagbo, and actually molested his wife in ways which cannot be described on television. And yet Ouattara was supported. Ouattara has been a dictator from the word go. He has had no respect for the Ivorian constitution. He has acted as a despot, clear despot. Actually took La Côte d'Ivoire to war. Excuse me. In which hundreds of thousands of people died for nothing. This is Ouattara. You remember 2016 elections. Our friends now in power were telling us to copy Ouattara. What a wonderful leader Ouattara is and how we should copy him. Now you see Ouattara in full relief, in his full colors. Despot, anti-African, and so on. Clear. That is Ouattara for you. Ouattara nominates his favorite as a presidential candidate. The favorite dies. Ouattara now looks around La Côte d'Ivoire and says, no, if my favorite is not going to get it, I'm coming back to take it myself. That's the despot, Alassane Ouattara. Clear despot. This despot was in Gambia, participating in ECOWAS' effort to solve the Gambian political crisis. Currently, he's involved in the ECOWAS effort to resolve the Mali crisis. And Kwame, to be honest with you, the ECOWAS leaders, I don't know what to say of them. I am surprised at the ECOWAS leaders. When the former Malian president was there and misbehaving, and people were protesting and so on, we didn't hear the ECOWAS leaders open their mouth. The people rebelled through popular protest and so on. The people invited the armed forces to intervene to remove a despot. This current military government in Mali is a popular military government. The Constituent Assembly of Mali has endorsed them. ECOWAS leaders meet and what do they say? The ECOWAS leaders meet and they say, oh, the same military government, if you appoint a civilian, then we will lift sanctions and we'll work with you. What rubbish. Democracy is not about civilians and military men. No. Democracy is about people in a country exercising their full inalienable rights. It's about expressing the people's will and choice. It's not about civilian or military. So these soldiers now say that, okay, we have appointed a civilian, here is a civilian, lift the sanctions. The regime is still in place. It is not about whether you have a civilian leader or you have a military leader. It's about the institutions and whether the institutions allow for free democratic expression. That is the issue. But ECOWAS leaders somehow managed to reduce this to civilian versus military. Rubbish. And we are supposed to be congratulating ECOWAS leaders for doing a good job. They've done nothing in Mali. They've done no good job in Mali. Their conduct is an embarrassment to the whole of Africa. In any case, this problem has started in La Côte d'Ivoire. How many ECOWAS leaders, throwing their democratic credentials in our faces, have been able to speak to the situation in La Côte d'Ivoire and to tell Ouattara that we've had enough of you, get out? How many of them have been able to do that? None of them. None of them. They are picking low-hanging fruits. As for Mali, it is easier to talk about Mali and so on. They should go and talk about La Côte d'Ivoire. They should go and talk about their colleague, the certified despot in La Côte d'Ivoire. They should go and talk to him. Look at these ECOWAS leaders. What a shame. Look at them. And the situation is not only in Mali. There are similar situations all over West Africa. The leaders are incapable of addressing this problem. You know what Alassane Ouattara has done? Alassane Ouattara somehow, through the manipulation of the judicial system and the prosecutorial system in La Côte d'Ivoire, has disabled one of his rivals, Guiraud Soro, who was his accomplice in that coup d'etat which brought him to power, has been able to disable Guiraud Soro from contesting the elections. Through similar manipulative processes and so on, he is seeking to disable Laurent Gbagbo from participating in the elections. So anybody who is likely to give him a run for his money, anybody who is likely to challenge him and so on, is being disqualified. And we are sitting here clapping, pretending as if everything is honky-dory in La Côte d'Ivoire. It is not honky-dory in La Côte d'Ivoire. Alassane Ouattara is a danger to the peace and security of La Côte d'Ivoire. Alassane Ouattara is a danger to the peace and security of West Africa. Alassane Ouattara is a despot. And the peoples of West Africa and governments of West Africa need to take a stand. Laurent Gbagbo, did he behave like Alassane Ouattara? He worked according to the constitution. He followed the constitution keenly, respected the constitution, respected the people of La Côte d'Ivoire, and so on. And yet, because he was an African nationalist, because he was opposed to a situation in which French-speaking African countries keep their foreign reserves in the Bank of France, because he wanted the Ivorians to take their destiny into their own hands and so on, all kinds of forces conspired and brought Alassane Ouattara to power. Now we see Alassane Ouattara for what he is. Now Alassane Ouattara is walking naked. Everybody can see him for what he is. My goodness, let us be principled in West Africa.
Right, thank you very kindly, Mr. Pratt. Let me go for this quick commercial break. When I come back, there are a number of issues that we're going to be touching on. Deputy Chief Imam endorses Mohammed's mosque for Muslims. Also, EC exposes NDC, says allegations regarding removal of NDC supporters from voters register unfounded. And nurses and midwives suspend strike, resume work today. Quick commercial break. Stay with us. You're still watching the News Preview segment on Pan-African Television.
Breakfast good day, every day.
Nestle. Good food, good life.
This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Breakfast good day, every day.
Every day.
Nestle. Good food, good life.
This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Thank you very much for staying tuned into Pan-African Television. Let me remind you that we're still streaming live on our Facebook page, which is Pan-African Television, and the WhatsApp number is also very, very active, 0260846539. Let's come back home and deal with some domestic issues here. And I want to start with Kamaldeen on the subject matter of the Deputy Chief Imam endorsing Mohammed's mosque for Muslims. Sir, please.
First of all, you must indicate whether you're supposed to vote.
How can we be telling you what to say?
Kamaldeen. Well, Kamaldeen is a fighter.
Well, that's a very interesting one. First of all, is there Mohammed's mosque? Has John Dramani Mahama, the flag bearer of the NDC, former president, has he promised to build mortuaries for Muslims? First of all, KOD, you are putting this subject for me to discuss, and
Absolutely.
I'm putting it to you.
No, not yet. Not yet.
No. You see, I know. I know why I've asked this question.
Not yet.
You listen to me. No, he has not promised. Or he has promised to build mortuaries.
Yeah, there's a promise.
Oh, there's a promise. Very good. There's also another communique that came out from his own, if you like, institution or office, which says that no, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has not promised to build mortuaries. Written by James Ajenim Boateng. And when further,
It's not true. I've read.
I have said, he says that the online story that, I mean, and I'm paraphrasing what came out of what came out of his office. He says the online story that seeks to say that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is promising to build mortuaries
In the Zongos.
in the Zongos, and for that matter for Muslims, is not true.
No. You're twisting it.
Well, did he say in the Zongos or for that matter the Muslims?
First of all,
Okay.
well,
What's the argument here?
largely where do Muslims live? Zongos. The Zongos, largely, mostly where do they live? I'm saying largely. You may be an exception, but largely. I don't also live in the Zongo, but of course, we are part and parcel of Zongos. Sheikh Abdul Qadir, who is the Dagomba chief in Accra, was the president of the Zongo chiefs in the country, national president of the Zongo chiefs, until recently, until his time came out. I'm just telling you that we are all part of it. So the point I want to make, there's confusion here. When you take the manifesto of the NDC, they say clearly that they shall facilitate the establishment of mosques, that's mortuaries. Okay? And they go for say in accordance to what? Islamic principles
And practices.
and practices. So there's no ambiguity in saying that the NDC is promising to build mortuaries. They are clear. It's clear. Then they themselves sit down again. I don't know what confusion came in. Let's also issue a statement and say, no, we didn't say we are building mortuaries.
They didn't say that.
Oh, what is the statement?
It's not true.
Can you,
I don't know whether I fed that statement. But
who issued that statement?
James Ajay.
No,
It's not true.
I see.
I've read that statement. It is not true.
That for anyone to say that they are going to build mortuaries in the Zongo, it's not true. Then when you take the manifesto again, it tells you they will establish mosques again. So my point here is that what is the Zongos? What are you talking about? The abode of the Muslims are not in the Zongo. Are we not in the Zongo? Muslims live in the Zongo. Let's just not try to be economical with the truth. Now, KOD.
I'll come to you, sir, please.
I think we deserve better.
Yes.
We deserve better. Yes, you can do campaigns. You can go ahead and say all manner of things. Promise heavens. When you said free wasn't good, now free is good. You have 25 frees or more in your manifesto. Free. But free was bad. You can continue promising. Even after the promising, you can promise to put NABCO people who are now temporarily employed, make them permanent. Promise free. Continue. Promise to build mortuaries. It's a good one. But you see, for me, I will conclude by saying it's a mark of desperation. When a desperate politician is looking for power, he promises heavens. He says so many things and whatever. I am saying that the Zongos deserve better and not mortuaries. My position. Now I've answered Honorable Yunus of Hussein. He said, what's my position with that? I don't like it. I don't support it. And I don't think that any of us sitting here will say a politician should come and talk to me and the politician say, I'll build mortuaries. You know why I don't like it as a Muslim? When you take Islam as a religion and how we are supposed to handle our corpses after Allah calls them, the time given us to perform ghusl, and after ghusl we perform the prayer, and after prayer we perform the burial. In all, they will call it the janaiza. When you take the process, okay, we are given a minimum of 24 hours or a maximum of 48 hours. And the 48 hours, even that one, okay, even that one is contested by many scholars. The 24-hour is what they have learned. Because the Prophet, there's a hadith, an authentic hadith that says that the Prophet says that rush, quicken up to ensure that the processes that will lead to burial is done. Marriage is one he has mentioned. Burial is one he has mentioned. And we are speaking about corpses and how to handle corpses. To bath them, shroud them, and then move to prayer, from prayer to to burial. That is what we are giving. Then someone says, I'll build mortuary. What comes to mind first when you talk about mortuary? Where do we keep dead bodies? Mosques, mortuaries. And the question on how long do Muslims keep dead bodies or allow to keep dead bodies according to best practices as Islam and in Islam? Like I said, it's 24 hours. As we said, if it happens to me now, which Allah can do anyway, what is supposed to be done quickly is to reach out to my people immediately, or reach out to any Muslim who is closer. Make sure I am taken care of, kept somewhere. Quickly, they come and then arrange for you to bath you, and then you are gone. Pray, and then you are gone. Where we have deaths in our, if you like, homes, anywhere that it happens, and you're supposed to handle the dead body, is the families or the immediate close relative of the person who are supposed to handle the body. You know why? Because of the bathing nature. The person is, if you like, kind of naked, born the way you are the way you were born. Then you're supposed to be bathed. So they look at close relatives who will come closer first. If they are not there, obviously Muslims who also will be closer, because al-Muslim, akhu Muslim, we are brothers in Islam. So for me, for this to find space in NDC manifesto, okay, to talk about building mortuaries, which appears hazy, which appears, if you like, either ambiguous in terms of the explanation of what they need or what they are going to do, it's needless. It's needless. We are talking of building schools. We are talking of bringing about pro-poor policies like the NHIS that we have. And today you see Zongo people, everybody has his in his card, in his purse. We are talking about ensuring that you facilitate the upliftment of their living standards. KOG, these are the interventions that we need in form of policies. But for you to come and tell me I'll build mortuaries for you and stay put and say that is a campaign message, it's a good one, then we go and get an imam who will say I support this. Then we'll have another imam who will say no, because I know the Ashanti regional chief imam also came out to say that no, we don't need mortuaries. Even the mention of mortuary is an affront to Islam, according to the Ashanti regional chief imam. Now we have Al-Sunnah imam also coming to say that if the story is true, that no, we also need mosques. We need mortuaries. Then there's another school of thought that will say no, we don't also need mortuaries. Al-ilm katurab, that's what they say in Arabic, that knowledge is like sand. Okay, one person cannot possess all. So in Islam, scholars disagree on certain, issues. But what is the general accepted principle, which is what I gave you earlier, the 24-hour mandate, and the kind of people who get close to your dead bodies. I mean, the dead bodies of Muslims, and the way they are supposed to be handled and move on. should this find space in political arena for us to be sitting down there and discussing death and mortuary? And that one should give us votes? Should it? Before the inception of the 4th Republican Constitution, there were deaths. You see, and sadly, this is the first time the NDC have had to put a Zongo promise in their manifesto. This is the first time. Sadly. I've looked at their various manifestos. I've not seen. This is the first time that they have thought of us. That, of course, yes, Zongos vote for us. Zongo are for us and whatever. Now, let's just recognize them. This is the first time. For us, this is our second or third time. MPP. And in fact, true to our words in 2016, what we promised, we have walked the talk. We promised to establish a Zongo Development Fund Secretariat in an attempt to bridge the gap, the development gap between the Zongos and, if you like, Muslim settler communities and, of course, other communities and inner cities as well. We have walked the talk and we have done that.
So you've bridged the gap?
Yes, we are setting it up alone and getting the development project going. It is. It's a process. It's not an event. For the first time since 1957, the Zongos have been voting massively and massively for the NDC. It's the first time that a government of the day has seen in the budget, national budget, taken to parliament, okay, having allocation for Zongo's development. It's MPP.
It's not true.
It's true. When it gets to your 10 years, it's very true. Budget, a national budget, the first one for Zongos. Zongo Development Fund Secretariat for developmental projects. The first time. They say it's not true. It's very true. Truth is something you cannot contest because it's in black and white. Well, I will say that if the thinking of NDC is to give us mortuaries and has even gone further to give us pictures of mortuaries on the newspaper, and that is what they want to give for Zongos, well, that is for them to continue. I think we deserve better.
Okay.
At least Zongos, when you take 100%, I know a chunk percentage of it vote for NDCs.
Okay.
But they deserve better than you just giving them mortuaries.
Thank you. I'm coming to Honorable Nisa Hussein, but because you made references to the statement that was issued by James Sandi, I think it's only proper that I read it
It's
out
important.
to you.
It's important.
Idris, the attention of John Mahama 2020 campaign has been drawn to a false, misleading and inaccurate claims in publications carried by sections of the online media titled 2020 Elections, Mahama promises more mortuaries for Zongo communities, the campaign team said in a rejoinder. For the records, the presidential candidate of the NDC, Mr. John Dramani Mahama, during a live interview with TVXYZ, took the opportunity to highlight his party's proposed interventions in the People's Manifesto for Zongos and deprived urban settlement. Muslims have entirely a different culture when it comes to handling of the dead and processes of burials, and according to the statement, the flag bearer only spoke about what the party's plans to in lessening the burden of bereaved Muslims by treating their deceased loved ones in line with accepted practices of the Islamic faith.
That's what he promised in the TV.
So that's what he said.
He didn't say he was
so
going
this
to build
was
mortuaries.
because you made you referenced him.
So
I
he
think
didn't say he was going to build mortuaries.
I'm saying that.
No, of course. Let's get it right.
Okay, so,
let's get it right.
yeah,
You have read it.
I've read
No, it's ready.
that.
It's only fair that I also set the record straight on my comment.
So let me.
It's only fair.
Yeah.
Alaji is fair. It's fair. Listen, you have just said that. Yes, you just.
This is
no, not it.
This is. Thank you very much.
You have said that.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's ipso facto. So let me come to. Let me come to Honorable Nifs. I'll give you the time to. Honorable Nifs, yeah.
I assure my brother Kamal that indeed, if NDC comes to power in 2021, I will champion the construction of the mosques.
So you build mosques, okay.
I will champion it. Even if it is not there, I will champion it. Because the Holy Quran says that لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ لِمَنْ كَانَ يَرْجُو اللَّهَ وَالْيَوْمَ الْآخِرَ وَذَكَرَ اللَّهَ كَثِيرًا. It's a quote from the Quran, who says that we have endowed the Holy Prophet with practices that are the best practices for those who remember God, who remember the hereafter, or who return to the hereafter and to God. and who remember a God in abundance. What was the practices of the Holy Prophet? Uswat and Hasana, what were they? They never mixed believers with non-believers. The Holy Prophet never mixed believers with non-believers. So it's one of the practices that you must emulate. In fact, there's a hadith which they say is da'if, is weak. That will say, don't even dress like a non-believer. Dress like a Muslim. So I think that if the promise is not captured so nicely, I would want them to capture it well. I want to champion that. Look, I have worked in Libya. I work with the Arabs. And I see janaza from the morgue to the cemetery and prayers and burial. Different from what we do here. Different. If you say you are a Muslim, be a Muslim. And don't be a munafiqin or munafiq. You are here and you are here. No. President John Dramani Mahama, thank you. The dead deserve respect.
Absolutely.
They deserve respect. That is why even in our tradition, when a person dies, the Gombes, they don't make, if you are not close to the family, you will enter. Why? Because of the way the person is lying. Because you must respect the dead. We have read 2 weeks ago a mortuary attendant who confessed that he was sleeping with dead women. Did you read it?
I did. I read it.
Did you read it? So it says that in Islam, when females die, female morgue attendants should bath them, should attend to them. When male die, male attendants to attend to them, to bath them. What is wrong with that? Will there be a situation where a male attendant will be sleeping with female dead bodies?
No.
And defiling their bodies? Will there be that situation? And what is, you have said it. We have between 24 hours to 48 hours to bury our dead. And so wherever you remain, in fact, the practice is that we believe that wherever you remain is where God had said you should remain, so they should bury you there, except in some limited circumstances that they transport you. So when a person is deceased, you have to bath. You don't need a refrigerator. If you say you build a morgue, you don't need a refrigerator. You bath the person. Wrap that person. Pray on that person. And bury that person. All these are practices. At the prayers, they will announce to the crowd whether he owes or somebody owes him. Because it's part of the things you will carry into the hereafter. So for me, wallahi, I would have nothing against the promise to build mosques. I think that is wonderful, it's timely, it's correct, and the dead Muslims need to be treated with respect. Secondly, my brother, for promises, Kamal says that only presidents who are desperately in need of power promise. That's what you tell me. You said so. You forgot it. Yeah. And we've seen that desperation can work. Because if not desperation, how do you promise kite train in the first year of your tenure? If not desperation, how do you promise that all Ghanaian households will have toilets? If not desperation, how will you promise that most Ghanaians will have bank accounts? You go and open it for them. You go and open the bank account for them. It's desperation. But that desperation gave power. And so what is wrong with being desperate for power? If Nana Akufo-Addo, in his desperation, even said, try me. Desperation. He said, try me. And desperation has given him power. What prevents other politicians from being desperate for power? There's nothing what prevents us from being desperate for power. Indeed, We are desperate for this power. If Nana Akufo-Addo doesn't know, we are desperate because Ghana is sinking. The economy of Ghana has contracted in 37 years. Ghana is almost broke. That's why we must push through the Ajapa deal no matter what, because there's no money. The banking sector is losing confidence in our bonds. For two bond issues, the Minister of Finance has not been able to get the predicted or projected resources from the bond issue. To end the year, the last issue, they raised 728 million Ghana cedis to end the year. And they're still going to issue bonds. They need 22.6 billion to end the year. It's not a sinking economy. Which economy? That's why we are desperate for the power. We are desperate because Ghana is not safe. It's not secure. Every day you hear problems. People masqueraded as military men. Because the military has been infiltrated. Even you hear military men telling you that they themselves, sometimes, they worry about their own security. Because the people who are being brought into the army, they simply do not understand. You hear policemen complaining. So we need power to be able to clean the system. Ghana belongs to all of us. One set of people cannot determine the destiny and progress of this country. It's never done anywhere. That's why we are desperate for power. God forbid if we give Nana Akufo-Addo 4 more years. People will run away from this country.
Thank you, Honorable Mr. Pratt, please.
Well, Master, the issues are very, very simple, and I don't know why there is this spin. The NDC promises that if it should win power, it would spearhead the construction of mortuaries in existing hospitals, which will work according to the injunctions of Islam. That's all. It is clear that in our existing hospitals, the mortuaries we have do not work according to the injunctions of Islam. One, you go to the mortuaries and male attendants handle both the dead bodies of males and females, which is against Islamic teachings. Under Islam, even when the woman is dead, her naked body is not supposed to be seen by strangers who are men. That's under Islam. If you like, contest me. Under Islam, even in death, you are not supposed to be mixing males and females. This is in Islam, and so on. The current situation where we have is that if you go to the mortuaries, all of these injunctions are thrown overboard. So what the NDC manifesto says is that we'll create a new dispensation in which when Muslims die, they can be buried according to their own beliefs and traditions. What is wrong with this? In any case, Master, in any case, this is not new. Master, in any case, this is not new. If you go to the Komfo-Anokye Hospital, as we speak now, there's a Muslim mortuary built by a chief imam. Now, as we sit here, there's a Muslim hospital in Komfo-Anokye Hospital built by a chief imam. So what is wrong with it? This twist, that what John Muhammad promises for Zogo communities is to build more. That's not true. Fortunately, you read James Ejenim Boateng's denial. What James Ejenim Boateng said is that we have promised to build Muslim mortuaries in hospitals in order to facilitate respect for the Muslim tradition, not in the Zongos. We haven't said that we are building mosques for Zongos. In any case, you see, Kamaruddin, you claim that you are from the Zongos and so on, and yet you make statements which suggest that you don't know the Zongos. Yeah. Me, I went to Nima 1 middle school. I know Nima like the back of my hand. Nima Mamubi, I know it like the back of my hand. I was in Nima 1 middle school. You can check. Huh? You don't know? You don't know? Go there and see. There are many Ashantis there. There are many people, Kous there. There are Frafras there. There are Nzimas there. It's a multicultural community. Go to Sabu Zongo and see. There are people there who are not Muslims. The Zongo community is not just for Muslims. Go to any and every Zongo community. Cool. You will find non-Muslims there. Cool. So this thing about Zongos being for Muslims and so on is false. It's only people who don't know the Zongos who can talk like that. I know the Zongos proper. The last time I went to Sabu Zongo was just about a few weeks ago. I went to Sabu Zongo, I stayed there almost the whole day. I know the Zongos proper. So it is not true that only Muslims live in the Zongos. That is false. Kamaruddin, you see, I don't think that is your fault. It's not your fault. You are a younger person. You understand? And I'm not sure that you are a historian of the Zongos, so you probably would not know. As far as I can remember, it was in 1962, the project had already started. But I got to know about the project, I became conscious of the project in 1962, on a visit to Nima. You know the Dunia area in Nima, the Dunia cinema area in Nima. I saw people working there who came from a group called Operation Help Zongos. If you don't know, Operation Help Zongos. It is they who drew up a development plan for all this. This is 1963. With the effective assistance of Kwame Nkrumah and the Convention People's Party. You see, Nima used to end the road. There was no paved road into Nima from the Pan-African Hotel, the roundabout, where you have the Gold filling station. It was the work of Operation Help Nima which built a road from that place beyond the Dunia cinema. Because Operation Help Nima came up with the idea that the construction of roads through the Zongos and so on would open the Zongos up for development and so on. Indeed, it was under Achampong, the Achampong government, that Nima Mamobi redevelopment plan was put into effect. That is why today you have a street which runs in front of Dunia cinema all the way to Accra Girls. It was part of that project. That plan had existed in the 1960s when I became conscious of it. You understand? Now, the building of roads through Nima and other places, Sabu Zongo and other places, has really opened them up for development. Today, when I go through the Nima market, all the way to the Mamobi market to Accra Girls, I cannot believe what is there. Because you couldn't even drive there. You couldn't. Motorbikes couldn't even go there. So don't come and talk the things you are talking about. You think that the Zongos were opened up in 2016 or 2017? You don't know the history. You don't know the history. In fact, the Achampong government and the Convention People's Party government did so much to open up the Zongos. The Zongos everywhere in this country. So don't come and sit on television and say that the MPP government is the first government which committed government resources in a budget to the development of the Zongos. It's not true. Check the history of the Zongos. It's not true. You understand? So now every now and then I hear this is the first time. The other time I heard somebody saying that this is the first time Ghana is having free education. Who told you that? Go and look at the manifesto of the Convention People's Party from 1951. Free education had always been part of the manifesto of the Convention People's Party from 1951. If you don't know the history, shut up. Me, I'm not a Muslim. Everybody knows that I'm not a Muslim. Everybody knows that I'm not a Christian. I have my own beliefs. How should I be buried when I die? I don't know. I'll be dead. I won't make those decisions. If I had the power to make decisions about how I should be buried, I will. But I'll be dead. I'll be like dead meat. Nobody is going to listen to me. I can't even talk for people to listen to me. So it is people like you who are going to decide how to get rid of my body. In any case, do I care? Do I care how you get rid of my body? I don't. But some people care. Some people care. I don't. You understand? Now, listen to me very, very carefully. In the run-up to the 2016 elections, we all heard what people put out. And I heard people in the New Patriotic Party say that, oh, we have a Christian and we have a Muslim. So the vice president as a Muslim will be taking care of the interests of Muslims. And so on. He will swear on the Quran. And because you swear on the Quran, Muslims will have no problem. So you introduce that element into our politics. This Muslim-Christian dichotomy, which I find exceedingly regrettable. Yeah. Once we elect you as president or vice president, or once you become a minister, you are expected to look after the interests of everybody in the country, whether you are Muslim or Christian. Do I care? Every citizen of Ghana must be entitled to education, to health care, must have potable water and so on, irrespective of the religion of those in power. And yet, you made it a point. You made it a point to campaign on that basis. That Alhaji Bawumia is a Muslim. There will be a Muslim in the Flagstaff House and so on. Because of what you did, some people, and I disagree with them, Master, don't get me wrong, I disagree with them. Some people think that it is proper to be asking what he did for Muslims, what Alhaji Bawumia did for Muslims. Alhaji Bawumia is not supposed to be serving Muslims alone. He's supposed to be serving the whole country. You understand? So, I am not happy with the debate. The 1992 Constitution fully recognized the right of people to belong to whatever religion they want to belong. The 1992 Constitution insists that Ghana as a state is a secular state, but our leaders must not discriminate against people on the basis of their religious practice. So we should make it possible for Muslims to practice their religion. Make it possible for Christians to practice their religion. Make it possible for the Baha'i faith, adherents of the Baha'i faith, to practice their religion. Make it possible for atheists to remain atheists. That is the duty of the state. Make it possible for Jews to practice their religion. Make it possible for Hindus to practice their religion and so on. That's the injunction. And yet, somehow, our politicians have managed and are trying desperately to divide us on the lines of religion and so on, when they should be uniting us for the secular purpose of making life bearable for every Ghanaian, irrespective of their religious affiliation. What is this Muslim versus Christian? So, meanwhile, if you go into our communities, we don't care who is a Muslim or who is a Christian. Go to the communities. I grew up in Kotobabi Down. Most of my years were spent in Kotobabi Down. We did not care who is a Muslim and who is a Christian and who is a traditional religion, who believes in traditional religion. We lived in Kotobabi Down as one community. And that's what we expect at the national level. Stop dividing us. In any case, any true Muslim who knows his or her religion would not discriminate against people on the basis of their religion. I have taken the trouble to try and understand the Quran, to read the Quran small. When the Lord God appeared unto Muhammad, peace be unto his name, where did Muhammad go for confirmation that that was the voice of God? He went to a Christian family. Allah?
Yeah, from Israeli, a Jew.
He went to a Christian family. Muhammad was not against Christianity. He was not against any other religion.
We have to come up on this.
Come on, dude.
If he wants to crucify himself,
I don't even deal with you. I crucify myself. I don't deal with you. You are already crucified on the man in Muhammad. What you have done with my submissions. You don't worry, I'll tell you where you have crucified me. I'll tell you from Allah.
Let's move on. Let's move on. EC exposes. EC.
Have I said that religion doesn't matter? Have I said that religion doesn't matter?
We didn't even deal with it.
You're always hearing things upside down.
He's hearing things from somewhere.
I'm hearing things from here. And we have to deal with it.
Thank you very much. Come on, dude. EC exposes NDC, says allegations regarding removal of NDC supporters from voters register as unfounded. Honorable Lisa, let me start with you.
They expose themselves. Now, first of all, let's all be clear that a voters register, including the EC, if they are listening, that a voters register is sine qua non for the credibility and acceptability of elections. That you can't go into a democratic elections without a voters register, because the voter register is compiled pursuant to Article 42 of the Constitution, which vests in every Ghanaian of age, that is 18 years, and of sound mind, a right to be registered as a voter. In registering that person, processes are gone through, and that person's name has to be captured on the register for the purposes of exercising his franchise. No matter who you are, you can't be the president of this country if at the next election your name does not appear on the voters register. You will not vote. You will not vote. That is why presidents, and I've seen the MPP try to show that President Nana Akufo-Addo has his name on the register. Because if his name is not on the register, he would not vote.
He cannot even be voted for.
He cannot even be voted for. So it is very important that we all understand that. Number two, and so let me once again use this platform to tell the NDC guys who are sitting down and trying short code. Look, if you refuse to walk to the registration center to check your name, on the voting day, you waste more time to find your name. Yes, if you refuse now to walk to the registration center to check your name, on the voting day, you will waste more time in finding your name. So better go now and find your name and be sure that that is your bullet. That's your arrow, that's your spear that you are going to use on the day of battle, which is 7th December 2020. Now, we are all aware that we have said that because the voter register that we have changed produced two presidents, and those presidents were of different political parties, that register went a long way in establishing credibility. Because the register was not only producing presidents of one political party, it has produced two presidents. And those two presidents are from different parties. In fact, what is even more surprising is that this president won the 2016 elections by close to 1 million votes. Not 1 million votes, or over one. Close. No, it was what? It's not 900 something. 900 something. No, so come on, nice way. So I'm getting your channel. Yeah, please. So you see, everybody thought that having benefited from an electoral system,
and in fact, it must be stated clearly that was not the first time a presidential candidate was winning by close to 1 million.
No, that was the first time. That's not, yes.
Our history
is
full
of such examples. Now, so it must be understood that having fought and won elections based on the register, and having established even your regions, the 10 divided regions to create the 60 regions by that register, and having conducted the local governance elections by that register, one should have thought that the credibility of that register has not been established. Nana Akufo-Addo said Dabida over his dead body. We also said that 6 months to elections, and you're creating a compelling register. How do you deal with the errors? They said they would deal with it. At one point, Gabi came back to his senses and said, "Oh, look, the time appears to be too short." In the tweet. Now they have done that. We queued. Coronavirus notwithstanding. We queued and registered. The Electoral Commission now wants us to believe that rampant deletion of names across the country is to be expected. What bonkums? How can mediocrity become the order of the day? And they argue that it is precisely because of that the CI91 makes provision for exhibition, because so that you can come and correct errors. Can you imagine? I wanted to go and read a doctorate degree, but Siribo and what's his name? Bosman have discouraged me by their argument. I intend to stay at the master's level. They've discouraged me to argue that it's because the law says that we should exhibit the register. That's why we have made mistakes. It's mediocrity of the highest order. It's mediocrity. If they don't see it that way, I'm telling them it's mediocrity. The fact that the law says you should exhibit a register is not an invitation to commit mistakes. It's not, cannot, and should not be interpreted as an invitation to commit mistakes. In fact, they should bow down their heads in shame. We are saying, look, my brother, names, you register at a polling station, 511 people at Bari Primary School polling station in Jirapa. And then you produce a register of 93 names. What mistake is that? What kind of mistake is that? You should have been given F minus. Because if that's a mistake, not even 100, not 511 people absent, 96 people. And you said that we should accept that as mistake and that you will fix those mistakes. In fact, their statement even gives them away. Must have you read their statement? They say we will fix those mistakes. It means they are mistakes. They are mistakes that ought to be fixed. And that is why we are saying that, look, the government say that when you see somebody squatting in the bush, you can safely assume that he's attending to nature's call. You see someone squatting in the bush, just safely assume he's attending to nature's call. These people, what led them to compile a new register? No, let me start from the beginning. What led them to sack Charlotte Osei and install electoral commissioners and compel the electoral commissioners to compile a new register, and the electoral commissioners to have compiled the new register, which is riddled with errors? It's enough grounds for us to suspect that they are working according to a script. Because Atamils and John Nana Akufo-Addo, the time difference, time election difference, was it not 100,000? Was it not 100,000 votes? About 100,000 votes. 40,000 votes, actually. 1,000 votes. It was John Bama, which was 100 and over 1,000. 40-something thousand votes. So if you add the Ashama deletion to the self-died deletion, you are getting exactly what John Dramani Atamils beat Nana Akufo-Addo with. That's the 2 polling stations. Don't talk of Asankrogwa. Don't talk of Tamal Saf. Just the 2 polling stations. 27,000 plus 1,800. Yeah, you know. So that's where we are concerned. And we say we shouldn't cut we shouldn't cut. Somebody wrote a piece. I almost laughed my head to the bathroom. He said we should. John Dramani Mahama should not cut his store, his store and come back to Accra. Hey, who says about me? When you are preparing for a fight, and you receive information that the referee who is going to referee the fight is in talks with your opponent.
The trainer of your opponent.
The trainer of your opponent. You continue campaigning. Are you a fool? Are you a fool? You need to come back and even meet them in the room that they are having a discussion. If they are uninvited, you don't have to be invited into the room. You have to break the room and enter and meet them there and hear what they are discussing. We will hold the Electoral Commission responsible for anything untoward that happens in Ghana between now and December 2020. Because we, as lawful citizens of this country, believe in constitutionalism and the rule of law. We, all of us seated here, all the people of Ghana, contribute through our taxes to establish an institution for the purposes of refereeing, being an independent referee for elections and choosing the leadership of this country. We recognize the importance of that institution. That is why we are paying taxes to be used to fund that institution. Bosman, Jim Mensah, and all electoral commissioners are not paid by Nana Akufo-Addo. They are paid by you and me. All the $100 million they used was not money belonging to Nana Akufo-Addo. Was money belonging to you and me. And so, we will hold them responsible. In any case, won't it appear strange if, and they tell us that these mistakes are common. I said maybe Bosman wasn't voting in 1992 or he didn't vote. Because I voted in 1992 up to now. Nowhere, never have there been reports of names missing from the register at the scale at which the names are missing. Never. Never have there been that. And they shouldn't think that we have short memories. Never. You compile a register. The register is riddled with errors. Instead of assuring the people of Ghana that these problems was unexpected and you are dealing with it, you come to insult our senses and think that we don't think because you alone are those who have been invested with the power to think, wisdom to think. Look, let me conclude by saying, Master, do you remember the Kumasi incident? Is it Bantuma or which constituency was that? That in a day recorded a spike of 20,000 names on the register.
Yeah.
Has the Electoral Commission, since that spike occurred, explained what happened? I've not heard. Maybe some of you on this table, maybe some of you have heard. Has it told us what happened? Because you have an end, back to back, B to B. There are those who input the records and those who receive the records. Is it that those who inputted the records on that day after registration inputted the wrong number and the Electoral Commission received that number? Or is it what we have all been suspecting, that there's a middleman in between the transmitter and the person who received the information?
Accepting.
So he attacks the information and changes it. Was there a middleman attack in the 20,000 spark? We don't know. This deletion, is it that there is a malware, because it's a cyber matter? Is it that there's a malware on the system that takes a certain capacity? Or when that malware is activated, names are deleted? What is it? Because it could not have been the case that 511 registered and only 93 names were inputted. It could not have been the case. All the names would have been inputted. What occasioned the deletion, the loss? Is it a malware? Is it an attack? Are they training? Are they practicing it? What are they doing? We don't know. What are they doing? Ashama, they've gone 27 names not on the register. All the 27 names were they inputted. Did somebody attack the system, the hardware, the software, and remove those names? So that on the election day, if Ashama people go to the polls and the register doesn't contain their names, there will be no time for you to complain. Do you get me? There will be no time. That is why we are worried. Because the exhibition has exposed this. Assuming that this was election day, the Ashama people had gone to the register and 27 names were not on the register. Who will they complain to?
27,000 or 27?
27,000. Yeah. Who will they complain to? Or Safdai, 1,800 not on the register. Who will they complain to? Will that not be a recipe for chaos and disaster? Is it intentional? Or is it an attack? We don't know. We simply don't know. And we have seen what has happened in Kenya. We have seen what has happened in Estonia. We have seen what has happened in Georgia. We have seen what has happened in Ukraine. We have seen even what has happened in the United States of America.
Anyway, thank you, Honorable Inusa Fuseni. Come on. What sayest thou?
Let me first of all allay your fears.
Okay.
And the fears of many Ghanaians. That what happened in Estonia, what happened in Kenya, what happened anywhere will not on any day happen here.
Demonstrate that.
Because of someone beating war drums. You see, Jody.
Yes, sir.
Oh, that is not an. That's not
No, I'm saying that
we are going to ensure that the security.
it will never happen here. You know what? There is some seeming consistency in the way NDC does their tests when it comes to elections. 2008, before we exited, before the election, when they were launching their campaign team, this was the mantra. Ghana will become like Kenya if MBC doesn't win. Ghana will become like Kenya if the election is not credible. Hey, yeah. Ghana will burn. That's NDC for you. So they started, they continued.
I think you guys are also very complicit.
No.
You said you come out of Afghanistan and what. You said those things.
Oh, so, my brother. Let me proceed.
Please proceed.
Okay?
Proceed.
So there's some seeming consistency. And in this case, they started with the compilation of the register and what they think about it and why it shouldn't happen. We saw demonstrations in this country. Yempini, we won't agree. Ghana will burn. They've gone to queue to register and now say their names are not in the register. The same people, Yempini will burn Ghana. Ghana will not go. You won't take us serious. They've gone to register. Now the point is that 21,000 names in Ashama alone is missing. I thought you said you will register. I thought you said Ghana will ban. Today you are now telling me 21,000 names. When the EC came out to say that, to debunk it, the next moment is that, oh no, we have now seen 14,000, 7,000. Oh, that is in the public domain. And I will not sit here to lie. It's in the public domain. The man came out to say that at the end of the day. What the man say? I'm saying that now they are saying they are now struggling with 7,000. They don't have. They've gotten 14,000 or so.
But 14 plus 7.
That's what now. No, I'm saying that you are the MP himself who said his name wasn't found. The MP, the Ashama MP, who said his name was not found. And the ECK said to prove to him that your name is on the register. He said, if I hadn't done that, they won't do the right thing.
Why do you publish the name?
Now please, will you let me continue with this? I was very quiet. You see, let's have a discussion.
Proceed.
Let's have a discussion.
Proceed.
I am saying that it's not what you think and what you say alone that you think is the truth. You are not the only one privy to the online stories and what is happening. I am saying the inconsistency, of the NDC and the way they do their things when it comes to election, for me, it's sad. The man tells you he won't register in the first place. He comes to tell you, I've registered, but my name is not found again.
Oh,
the man tells you Ghana card is not even good. I won't do Ghana card. No MDC. They did press conference to do Ghana card. The next moment, the flag bearer and his wife said, let's go and do Ghana card. They were standing there doing Ghana card. That is how Ghanaians want to, they want us to view them. Now, let me tell you why. Election is a process. When you take the laws of Ghana, close to 13 laws, the Constitution alone gives about 10 provisions that allows the Electoral Commission to work. Aside that, the written laws, the PNDC law 284 and all that, are also there to tell us that election, and the CIs are there. In this case, the CI 91, CI 127 and all that are laws that are supposed to govern the process of the Electoral Commission, which I believe my elder brother knows better than I do because he's a lawyer. Election is a process and not an event. This coming out to sound and appear alarmist and say things, blow things out of proportion, trying to create confusion in the minds of people, when in fact you have representatives on IPAC, when in fact you are representative at the Electoral Commission. When you were in the Supreme Court, what were you saying? Hey, didn't you have agents there? Your agents were seated. We recorded, or they recorded, the EC recorded close to the number of people they registered in the constituencies. I mean the polling stations. Today, what is the essence of the exhibition? He says, doctors, he was going to read a doctorate, but because of Dr. Srebua and Dr. Bosman, he is discouraged. It's interesting. The reason is that they have said that the exhibition is there for a purpose. Which purpose is to unearth anomalies and correct those anomalies. That's his reason for being discouraged. The framers of the law, in this case CI 91, which he's part, because he's a lawmaker, contemplated it and inculcated it in the law that, look, let us have a space to exhibit the register, so that if there are any anomalies or whatever that need to be corrected or infractions that are supposed to be corrected, we correct them. Someone comes to say this and you say because he's a doctor, you won't do a doctorate. I mean, for me, I don't see the logic. I'm yet to understand. Maybe after we finish, myself and my elder brother, he will teach me the logic more and I understand it. Point is that the exhibition has a reason. The anomalies that has come up is not the first time, like Honorable Kusupa said. Look, what did he say? He says it's not the first time someone has won election close to 1 million gap. It is not the first time we're holding election in this country. In fact, under the 4th Republican Constitution, this is going to be our 8th election we're going to hold. 8th. Okay? Under the 4th Republican Constitution alone. Before that, we did. And no election conducted in this country came without infractions. Spanning from registration, running up to the end of election, you will still have some certain errors. These are there. But why do you want now to come out? Because Madame Charlotte Osei is not there. Because it's not Madame Charlotte Osei there. That one, the NDC, anybody who go to sit there is not correct. If it was Charlotte Osei, who even refused to listen to her own panel, the panel she set up, led by the late VCRAC crap, when they advised her not to transmit election results from polling station to national, she defied it and said, no, I will do it. Her own panel. This one is not like that. Transparency and fairness is clear. You attend iPad and come at the next moment and say, no, it's not so. But I can tell you, I am not a PRO for Electoral Commission. I am a key actor in this particular election because I also have interest as a political party that I belong to. I belong to a political party and we have interest. Any anomaly, what is happening there affects all of us. I saw a report on one of the TV stations coming from Benduri in the Upper East region. My own friend's place, Abdullah Abanga, who is the MPP candidate there. And they were talking about some number of people who could not find their names on the register.
A lot,
like
actually.
Rightly, a lot. Then someone says somewhere to say it is only the stronghold of NDC that they are doing this. You and I know that the World Bank of NDC, as they perceive, is the Volta region. I don't know whether you've had cases from the Volta region coming up.
They just mentioned some died.
They mentioned one. Binduri is a stronghold of NDC. You see, the point I want to make is that no one goes to register.
But the current MP is an NDC.
That doesn't make it stronghold.
Well,
if you follow Binduri election, follow it up to 2016, and look at the way the NPP rises. Follow it.
NPP is rising.
NDC always nosedive. They come down always. Look, what Ghana elections though? MPP has always risen. NDC come down. Go watch it. What Ghana election?
but it doesn't mean you've won
I am
an
telling you
election
something.
there.
And I'm saying that Binduri, for instance, we've not won it. But
Okay. You are closing the
But
gap.
let me tell you why we should be worried. Let me
All
tell
right.
you why we should be
And that should be your final point.
Why are we worried, all of
Yes.
us? We are worried, all of us, as political actors, because, you see, as MPP, we should be worried. NDC should be worried. Any political party, CPP should be worried. Are you understanding me? We are worried because no one goes to register with your NDC card in your hand that I am NDC, I'm coming to register as a voter. No one goes to register with your CPP card and say I'm CPP. Everyone goes to register with the requirement that is enshrined in the law as a Ghanaian. Fundamentally. Kodi,
Yes, sir.
I can't sit here to say that anyone's name that went out was NDC, therefore I don't care. No. It is absurd for me to do that. I cannot also come to sit here to say that anyone's name found in a register is MPP, therefore I should go and sleep. It's not true. Ashanti region NDC have votes. Everywhere they have votes. MPP also have votes everywhere. Point I want to make is that if the electoral commission is a genuine mistake, let us all come out to speak against it and push. But creating this fear and panic in the system, when in fact it is only blowing hot air, because you end up saying this and nothing happens. Because I've given you an example of no show of your register. We won't agree. Ghana will ban. You have registered. You're only blowing hot air to us. Spare us that one. Let us get your representatives to help correct any anomaly. Let the EC correct the anomaly, and we have a transparent and fair election for all of us to move. But this talk about Ghana will become Kenya, Ghana will be like Estonia, Ghana, it is not good for our democracy, and it's not good for us.
Grateful.
Okay? It's not good for all of us.
Thank you.
But to end with,
Yes.
the CPP in 1962 helped to develop Nima and, for that matter, Zongo operation.
You still want to go there?
No, I want to make a point and land. The CPP brought free education. The NDC brought what? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kamaldeen. Mr. President. Thank you, Kamal. Thank you.
Right?
Thank
the
you.
NDC and NPP today, what did the NDC bring?
Thank you very much.
Now, what did the NPP do? I don't want to be dragged into this needless, you know. Masa, me, I take my time and I go beyond the formalities and so on. I've went to a number of registration centers during the registration exercise. And the way the registration exercise was conducted, it is possible for party agents to know who is MPP and who is NDC. And you know that. Because, yes, at the polling station, the political parties had systems for vouching for those who did not have. At the polling stations, at the registration centers, all the political parties which had agents had systems for vouching for those who didn't have the Ghana card.
It's true.
So people didn't just come on their own and register. A lot of people came having been organized by political parties. There was an organization. There was a system. So if you finish registering and they know you are MPP, they ask you to stay so that you can vouch for others.
That's
if they know you are NDC, they ask you to stay so you can vouch for others.
That's true.
That system, that organization could actually tell who on the register is NDC or MPP. I was in the registration center, I could clearly identify NDC people from MPP people. So it is not true that people who went to the registration centers, you couldn't tell whether they were NDC or MPP. It's not true. You could easily tell. Through that system for vouching and so on, you could easily tell. You see, Kamaldeen, I think you should brief yourself properly. The Electoral Commission gave the provisional register to the political parties before the exhibition started. You are aware of that? In less than 48 hours, the Electoral Commission itself wrote to the political parties and said the first provisional register they gave them, there were mistakes in it and therefore they were going to replace it. So if you go to Ashama, when the member of parliament was complaining that his name was not on the register, it was about the first provisional register that the Electoral Commission gave to the parties, which was used for day one of the exercise. Through, the MP's name was not on that register, which was used for day one of the exercise. It was on day two of the exercise that the Electoral Commission now brought a provisional register with his name on it. So the MP didn't lie. His name was not on the register. Now, the Electoral Commission says that, oh, as for the printing of new cards, there was nothing suspicious about it and so on. But listen to the statement they issued. The Electoral Commission is saying that the machines they use for the registration exercise, some of them had the same numbers as other registration centers and so on. So in the end, the cards which were generated from different polling stations had the same numbers and so on, and that they needed to print new cards to replace those cards. What can be more incompetent than this?
You don't understand why I don't want to be a doctor.
What can be more incompetent than this? In any case, Kamaldeen, you know as well as I do. In Ghana, the electoral processes are policed all the time. From the printing of ballot papers, from the printing of nomination forms and so on. At every stage, all the parties have agents there so they can see what is happening, alike, in the printing houses and so on. We have even gone a step further down. After the printing has been done and the material has been put in boxes, we require all the political parties to go and affix their seals on the boxes. So you can't even open the box if all the political parties are not represented there. This is our practice, standard practice. So if you have a situation where the Electoral Commission itself says that we made mistakes, we use the same numbers for the same polling stations or different polling stations, and that has caused a problem, and therefore we have to print new cards. Why were the political parties not informed? Why were the political parties not brought into the picture? In any case, when the matter was discovered and that video went viral, what was the first reaction? The first reaction was that, oh, that video was malicious propaganda. Now we know that it was not malicious propaganda. And that indeed, cards were being printed secretly. Secretly, beyond the purview of the political parties. The political parties were not informed. They did not know that these cards were being printed. So, what is malicious propaganda about that video which went viral and so on? You see, bottom line, I don't want to speak too much. Bottom line. Anybody who thinks that this election can be rigged and will be rigged is deceiving himself. It won't happen. Nobody will be allowed to rig this election. Nobody will be allowed to intimidate voters. The vigilance of the Ghanaian population is up in the skies. So let nobody even dream of rigging this election, because it won't happen.
It won't happen.
Let nobody imagine, dream of intimidating voters not to vote. It will never happen.
It won't happen. The tank man.
We will have
the tank man in Ghana here.
We will have free and fair and transparent election on December 7th, whether the electoral commissioners want it or not. Whether the leaders of some political parties want it or not, we will exercise our right to choose our own government on December 7th. And nothing will stop that. Nothing will stop that. So those who are dreaming dreams and scheming schemes and so on, they should be careful. There will be consequences for those who try to trample on the rights of citizens of Ghana. There will be serious consequences for those people. Anybody who tries on December 7th to fiddle with the ballot, to make sure that the people's votes don't count and so on, will face consequences which will be very, very unpleasant. I have finished.
Dr. Robert Kugademablem says 23 polling stations where names were deleted were all won by the NDC. None of the 9 polling stations won by the MPP in 2016 is affected. Binduri has 85 polling stations. If MPP won only 9 polling stations in 2016, then Binduri is a stronghold of the NDC. Says it's a deliberate but childish attempt by Jemensa to reduce the NDC votes in its strongholds. Come on, my time is up.
I know, but you see,
my time is up.
We are all assuring,
okay.
We are assuring Ghanaians
yes, my boss.
A peaceful election and transparent election. We should not sit anywhere to think that someone is sitting somewhere and scheming or trying to, if like, there is no way this election is not going to be free and fair. It's going to be very free and fair, and Ghanaians and Nanago is going to win it massively. Massively. Okay?
Thank you very much for reassuring us.
Massively. You will see.
There's a tree proverb which is very good. It says that if you sit in your house and you weed the tall grass with your words, you don't get hurt. The grass doesn't cut you.
Yes.
So you can weed the tallest grass with your words.
It's like saying I will demonstrate against registration and come to register. You are using the tallest grass.
It's not.
Plenty talk does not fill a basket.
Thank you very much. two messages and then I hope what Mr. Pratt is saying will be true, because what I hear in second is that the workers of EC are all MPP in Takrady. This one was
if they make Kamaruddin chairperson of the EC and make John Bodu his deputy and make Freddie Bray the operations officer of the Electoral Commission, I'm assuring you that they cannot rig.
Really?
It is the vigilance of the people. And the people will be extra vigilant on December 7th.
Nobody will remember to win.
Okay. Tony from Azoba says the EC chair and her 2 deputies seem to be putting in place an election rigging mechanism. Their party affiliations are clear now. AU Farouk Tawalinot, good morning to you. I doubt the credibility of the EC. Kick out Dana, you say. Please, nobody should think that these deliberate deletion of thousands of names from NDC strongholds are simple technical errors. This is simply wicked incompetence to favor one political party. Hillary from Nandom, I've seen your message. All the messages. Look, I have over 1,005 messages. Thank you.
We will see. The only one shall
Thank you, Kamal, for your time. Thank you, Honorable Lisa Hussein. Thank you, Mr. Pratt. I apologize for not being able to read all your messages, but I'll see you guys tomorrow. Do have a very, very wonderful day. My name is Kwame Owusu Danso, so I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.